No, the world is not overcrowded, okay? That's a bunch of baloney. They're trying to justify abortion with that statement. Well, we need to kill off some people. No, we don't either, okay? But the world is not overcrowded. Back in 1800, there were only 1 billion people in the world. 1 billion. You go back to the year 0, 2,000 years ago, the whole world only had 1/4 of a billion people. The population growth curve looks like the whole thing started about 4,400 years ago. Well, that's interesting. That fits exactly what the creationists have been saying all along. We believe the world was instantly created about 6,000 years ago. 4,400 years ago, there was a flood that destroyed the world. Noah built an ark, saved all the people on board that wanted to get on, and all 2 of each of the critters. And since the flood, they have diversified. There's been variety, but there's been no evolution. I was speaking in Boston at a university one time. There were 6 professors, and their classes all came. All of them believed in evolution, except me. They wanted me to teach on creation. I said, I'd be glad to. I was sharing what the creationists teach, that 6,000 years ago the world was created, 4,400 years ago there was a flood. Since the flood, the animals have diversified. One of the professors in the audience, he said, now, Mr. Hovind, do you mean to tell me that all the different kinds of dogs in the world, we have 250 different kinds of dogs in the world. Do you think all the different dogs in the world came from only 2 dogs off of Noah's Ark? I said, sir, would you look at what you're teaching your students? You're teaching your students that all the dogs in the world came from a rock. Yeah, I'd a whole lot rather believe they came from 2 dogs off of Noah's Ark than all the dogs came from a rock. Now, come on. Who's got science and who's got faith in this one here? I was at a university one time, and the smart aleck student said to Mr. Hovind, what would you say if scientists could produce life in the laboratory? I said, well, first place, they haven't. They're a long ways from it. Secondly, if a bunch of smart scientists get together and produce life in the laboratory, that's going to prove that it takes intelligence to create life, which is what I've been saying all along. It has to have an intelligent creator. That's just proof for me, not for them. But the creationists believe 6,000 years ago, God made everything. 4,400 years ago, there was a flood, and the human population chart says that's exactly correct. If man had been here for millions of years, there should be a lot more people by now. The fact that there are only 5.5 billion says we're right. This world is not millions of years old. There are a few more facts here. The sun is burning. How many knew that already? The sun is burning, okay? Did you know, as the sun burns, the sun is losing 5 million tons per second. It's on quite a diet. 5 million tons per second. The sun is losing weight. As the sun burns, the sun is shrinking. The sun is getting smaller. Nobody argues with that. The sun is shrinking. Now, this is going to be complicated, so listen carefully, especially for the junior high kids, so I'll try to follow me here. If the sun is shrinking, and it is, that means that it used to be bigger. How many can figure that one out with no help? All right, good, good. The sun used to be bigger, right? Well, now, hold it just a minute. If the world's only 6,000 or 7,000 years old, that's no problem. The sun was a little bigger back in Adam and Eve's day. No big deal. But you want to tell me it's billions of years old and the dinosaurs lived 70 million years ago? If they lived 70 million years ago, you should have seen how big the sun was then. It's big enough to touch the earth. If they did live that long ago, I know what happened to them. They fried. Charcoal broiled, man. No, they didn't live 70 million years ago. Come on. They could not possibly. The earth cannot be that old. Now, I know you have to have 70 million years to make your theory look good, but the earth simply is not that old. It cannot be. There are many things from the galaxies, the way they're spinning, they can't be billions of years old. From the way the planets are cooling down, there's no way they can be billions of years old. Saturn's rings are expanding. They're moving away from the planet. They should be gone if they were billions of years old. They can't possibly be. The moon is going around the earth. How many knew that already? The moon is going around the earth? Okay. Did you know, as the moon goes around the earth, the moon is getting further and further away from the earth. We are slowly losing the moon. Now, it's only a couple inches per year. Nothing to worry about. Plus, there's nothing you can do about it anyway. But the moon is getting further and further from the earth. Now, kids, this is going to be complicated. So listen carefully. If the moon is getting further and further from the earth, and it is, that means that it used to be closer. How many can figure that one out with no help? All right? The moon used to be closer. Well, now wait a minute. That would create a problem, you see, because the moon causes the tides. And if you bring the moon back in closer, the tides would be much higher. Matter of fact, a couple of million years ago, the tides would have been so high, it would drown everything on Earth twice a day. And you can only drown comfortably once a day. And you want me to believe the dinosaurs lived 70 million years ago? Ooh, if they did, I know what happened to them. They got tired of drowning twice a day, man. They quit. They said, we can't handle this no more. No, this world is not billions of years old. I wish we had time to go into all the different facts. There's enormous number of facts that say the universe, the moon, the earth, the sun, nothing can be billions of years old. The earth has a magnetic field. Our magnetic field is getting weaker and weaker and weaker. Which means, of course, it used to be stronger. You go backwards in time a few thousand years, 20 or 30 or 50,000 years, the earth was like a magnetic star. No life could be here only 30 or 40,000 years ago. By the way, as the magnetic field declines, it changes the rate of carbon-14 formation. You can't prove how old things are by carbon-14 beyond a couple thousand years because the magnetic field is weakening. You got a rubber ruler you're measuring things with. We don't have time to go into all that, but here's a few more here. The world is spinning. The earth is spinning around. How many knew that already? So we're turning around, okay? We're turning around a little over 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. But the earth is slowing down. The earth slows down 1,000th of a second every day. You probably did not even notice it yesterday, but we slowed down 1,000th of a second. Did you feel it? Yeah, I feel it. We're slowing down. Probably not. 1,000th of a second is no big deal. But every 10 months, they have to add a second to the clock because the clocks go off compared to the spin of the earth. 1990, New Year's Eve, they added a second to the clock. They did it again. Several times. They did it again in June 1992. Go get Astronomy Magazine from June of 92. Page 24 says, Earth's rotation is slowing down. June is going to have to be 1 second longer than normal. At midnight, they added a second to the clock. They called it leap second. Now, most folks have heard of leap year, but a lot of people have never heard of leap second. We have a leap second every 10 months because the Earth is slowing down. Now, kids, this is going to be complicated, so listen carefully. If the Earth is slowing down, and it is, that means that it used to be going faster. How many can figure that one out with no help? All right? No, wait a minute. If the world's only 6,000 or 7,000 years old, like I believe, that's no problem. The world was going a little faster. Adam and Eve had a 23-and-a-half-hour day instead of a 24-hour day. Big deal. But you want me to believe the world's billions of years old? And dinosaurs lived 70 million years ago? Do you know how fast the world would have been going 70 million years ago? Hey, if they did live 70 million years ago, I know what happened to them. They got blown off. No, this world cannot possibly be 70 billion years old. I'm sorry, or 70 million. You are mistaken. A couple of more here. You know, in Texas, I lived in East Texas for 5 years. They have oil wells. We had 30,000 oil wells just in our county. When they drill down into the ground, sometimes the oil down there is under unbelievable pressure. It'll come squirting up out of the ground like a big zit. Oil pressure, 20,000 pounds per square inch is found in oil wells. Well, the guys who study the rocks on top of the oil, the geologists say, hey, this rock can't handle 20,000 psi for more than probably 10 or 15,000 years. It should have cracked the rock. The pressure should have leaked off. Okay, I agree. Then I have two obvious questions. Number one, where did the oil come from? Number two, why is it still under pressure if the pressure should have leaked off in less than 10 or 15 or 20,000 years? Well, I got a theory on that. I believe 6,000 or 7,000 years ago, the world was instantly created. 4,400 years